afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Deputy Premier, Honourable MP Chagar is coming. MP Morris is also coming from another event in Cambridge. Your worships, Mayor Mrvanovic and McKay, and distinguished guests, thank you for joining us today. I am Melissa Secord, the National Executive Director of the CCA, and your MC for this afternoon, and your ring circus master. And we are back almost to where it all began one stormy night in winter of February 1973. So thank goodness we have a beautiful sunny day and we didn't repeat history on that front. Given our current pandemic circumstances, we thought it best not to burden the already busy hospitals and host it here in Waterloo at the Community Centre. We're also on Zoom across Canada as we invited our community who couldn't be here today to join us in person to celebrate. But before I go any further, I'd like to start off with a land acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge the land on which we gather today is located on the Holloman Tract, land that was granted by the Haudenosaunee of the Six Nations of the Grand River. It is within the territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. And we acknowledge that the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our Our event today will start off with some presentations and remarks, and after we'll invite our in-person guests for some more fellowship. I know the gluten-free food is very important, so we want to make sure everyone gets a chance, refreshments, and participate in our interactive photo and video booths to share a story and message of future and hope as part of our 50th celebrations, and they'll be at the back and at the front here. So this event is being photographed for public and is being broadcast, as I said, on Zoom. If you did bring a non-perishable gluten-free item, I ask you to drop it off with Kaylee at the back. And we are going to be sending that to the Cambridge Food Bank to help them help those who face food insecurity. Gluten-free food is at least 158% more expensive than the regular counterparts. And given today's economic climate, we really appreciate your generosity. And now on to our first presenter, which is Jennifer Stebbing.
Thank you, Melissa. On behalf of the National Board of Directors, thank you everyone for joining us on this special occasion. I have the honor and privilege of being the president of what has now officially become Celiac Canada. A number of years ago, the organization decided to move from a hybrid association charity with individual memberships and donations to a 100% donation-based charity. We also update our vision to be every person with celiac disease in Canada diagnosed and empowered. While the name has changed, we have not strayed from our humble beginnings when our two founders, Kay Ernst and Nora Reich, had a chance meeting back in 1972. Kay with a son with celiac disease, and Nora, who had what was then known as adult celiac sprue, realized there was no organization or support to help them manage their disease. After speaking with some local gastroenterologists, they decided to form a society, the first of its kind for celiac disease in North America. They planned their first ever education evening at the Kitchener-Waterloo General Hospital, thanks to Isabel Field, a nurse. They were interviewed on a local Kitchener-Waterloo cable station and featured in a story in Chatelaine magazine. There was a blizzard the night of the meeting in 1973, but that did not deter people from attending to learn more about their disease. I would like to ask Bonnie Cam, the Executive Vice President of Clinical Services at the Grand River Hospital, to come forward and accept a special commemorative plaque marking the first meeting in 1973 and the two women who helped start it all. Over the past 50 years, Celiac Canada has helped galvanize and educate people across the country and create a community so that we do not feel so alone in this lifelong journey. With 85% of people yet to be diagnosed, we still have a long way to go. Thanks to individuals like you here today, our amazing donors, volunteers across Canada, medical experts of our professional advisory boards and councils, industry partners, and a dedicated staff team, together, we have helped change federal food natural health product labeling laws and regulations. We have shone a light on, raised awareness of, and increased respect for celiac disease and those who live with this lifelong condition. We have developed and led thousands of hours of science-based education, created resources and programs to support diagnosis and ongoing health. We have advocated for provincially funded celiac blood tests, which improves access to early diagnosis in your own community. This helps avoid the devastating long-term consequences of the disease, thereby lowering the burden on our hospitals and diagnostic resources caused by late diagnosis of celiac disease. We have invested in Canadian-led research to improve quality of life for thousands of people living with this autoimmune disorder. In the past 11 years, we have helped advance access to safe gluten-free food through a world-leading, North American-first gluten-free certification program, which now has over 6,000 products carrying our special trademark and making life easier for those with celiac. Today, we are recognizing the first of several corporations who have supported the gluten-free food community through our gluten-free certification program. Their companies were one of the first to adopt this program to ensure their food products are safe for people with celiac disease. Jason Brass of Terracotta Foods was supposed to be with us today, but unfortunately was unable to make it. We also have Rupen Krajput from Grand River Foods. I'd like them to join with me up front to accept a certificate of appreciation. It looks like I don't think Rupen was able to make it as well. So thank you to them and for supporting our community.
Thank you, Jennifer. And I think I failed to introduce Jennifer as our CCA president, so my apologies, Jennifer. All right. So thanks, Jennifer. And thanks to the Grand River Hospital for joining us for your care of our patients, Terracotta Foods in Grand River being a part of our 50th year. And we'll be offering these certificates throughout the year to those various great partners that we have keeping our food safe. I'd like to now introduce Dr. Maria Inés Pinto Sanchez, and she is representing the Professional Advisory Council of the CCA, which consists of our medical and dietary experts, and she is the clinic director of the Celiac Clinic at McMaster University. Inés.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the organizers and especially Melissa for inviting us to talk today about the history of celiac disease. I was given a very hard task because I was asked to talk about 100 years of celiac disease in 10 minutes. So we'll do our best. Next, please. So the data for celiac disease, the first patients, is from the 2nd century, so not hundreds, it's thousands of years ago when Dr. Aretios referred as celiacos for people who have malabsorption. And this is how a celiac kid looked like back then, not so many years ago. Severe malabsorption. Next, please. Until the banana diet came, and this is when doctors realized that this disease was related to diet. As you will see here, the difference between before these dietary treatments and after dietary treatments, it's taking mostly 200 bananas, but they didn't identify what was the trigger. Next, please. Until that was in 1954, for which Dick, in his thesis, in his research, identified the trigger, which was gluten, a protein found in wheat, rye, and barley. And years later, in 1954, Dr. Polly was able to do the first biopsy to identify what gluten was causing in the small bowel, which is shortening of the villi, which is the lining of the small bowel. Next, please. Later on, years after, this disease was associated with different conditions, autoimmune disorders, malignancies, and next, please. Then also, with the previous researchers identified that this disease was genetic related. and the genes are required to develop this condition. Next, please. Moving forward, the other markers which define the disease as autoimmune, next please, previous markers, autoantibodies, antigliadins, and then later on TTGs, came much farther in the road. And this allowed, next please, to assess what was the frequency of celiac disease, or the prevalence, which we know now that is 1 in 100. Next please. More recently, in 2007, the first clinical trial was performed and developed to explore novel therapies. Next, please. So from the banana diet in 1930s to now, next, please, multiple therapies under investigation for celiac disease. This has been a part of the history of celiac in the last 100 years. Next, please. And you will see where the Canadian Celiac Association came from. Next, please. As you will see here, it's in the middle of all these advances. Next, please. The Canadian Celiac Association, as it was mentioned before, was born and started by Kane Ernst. You will see here the pictures and Nora Reck, two celiac disease sufferers that had the vision on the need of this association to help people with celiac disease. Next, please. And the purpose of this association was to promote health for people with celiac disease and other gluten-related disorders, and advance education, training healthcare providers, conducting and funding research in celiac disease, and promote excellence in the agriculture and food processing industries in Canada. They were advocating for years and years the celiac community. Next, please. And now the Canadian Celiac Association has over 30,000 people subscribed to this association. And next, please. And you will think how this links to research. From the beginning, there were associations from professionals supporting the Canadian Celiac Association. There were two different associations at the very first start in 1980s. There was a nutrition board led by Dr. Campbell, which is the name of now the most important award for celiac disease, and a medical advisory board, with many well-known experts involved in celiac disease. Next, please. Soon after 10 years, as you will see here, there were many experts in celiac disease around Canada in each province, dietitians and expert physicians working together, supporting Canadian Celiac Association. And this first recognizes in red are the doctors and dietitians that had made the first impact in the Canadian Celiac Association. Next, please. The previous professional advisory board, as you will see here, data from 1980s, 1990s, as you will see here, very well-renowned experts, Dr. Van Burrows, Mavis Molloy, Marion Sarkadas, that key dietitians that have been working supporting the Canadian Celiac Association. Next, please. And also, these professionals have been working in innovating research, publishing multiple papers in good impact journals, and advancing the knowledge in celiac disease. Also advocating Health Canada and presenting in international and national conferences. Next, please. And this is the current professional advisory board. And as you will see highlighted in red, you will see Don Dirksen. He is the chair of the PAC. And Shelley Case, she's a legend in celiac disease in Canadian Celiac Association. Next, please. And the purpose of this new professional advisory council, the PAC, is to advise and assist the CCA in its mandate of promoting the welfare of the celiac community, to increase celiac awareness among the public, governments, and healthcare providers. So this is a link, a liaison, and advice on priorities and directions for funding research. And also to develop recommendations, policies, and programs related to the medical, nutritional research, and education ensuring appropriate standards. Next, please. As you will see here, all this is combined in one graphic, and all these are the activities that the PAC is currently doing and has been doing for several and multi-decades. So, next, please. The first is advocating and evaluating funding for research, and there are two main research awards at the moment, which is the J.C. Campbell and the Young Investigators. Next, please. In terms of educational tools and developing, there are multiple resources for our healthcare providers, for the community, in diagnosis of management of celiac disease, on gluten challenge, and also this has been based on research and presentation international conference. Next, please. More recently, there have been, in the last decades, evaluations and a reassessment based on surveys that the Canadian Celiac Association and their community have been worked on to understand what is happening to our population. And this is where they come from other surveys in knowledge and celiac, what happens with knowledge in oats, which is a big problematic issue at the moment, and also tools to develop and improve symptoms knowledge in people with celiac disease. Next, please. And the PAC has came also with different statements. For example, as you will see here, gluten-free label, alcohol, gluten in medication. These are situations that people with celiac disease are facing on a daily basis, and they need guidance on. Next, please. So the PAC is working advocacy for celiac and the community, and also developing conference to train other healthcare providers. Next, please. And along with the Canadian Celiac Association and the PAC, next, please, we have a long-standing history of partnership with McMaster, our university. Next, please. And this is started with translational research. Next, please, with Dr. Verdula. She is present here. Long time ago, when she was starting and giving talks there to the community. Next, please. And more recently, almost 10 years ago, funded by Dr. Berchik, who is present here as well, funded director of the Celiac Clinic, we developed this clinic to help our community. And this clinic has been supported by our division, by the PharmCon Institute, so we continue working in the legend of the Canadian Celiac Association. Next, please. And one example of a big partnership that we are doing constantly with our society is this study. It's a collaborative international study that we were able to, next please, include 4,000 people, Canadians, with celiac disease to get important answers. For example, in this case, it was whether COVID was associated with celiac or not. But this is just an example of all the collaborative studies that we are doing together. Next, please. We're also together supporting the mandate and what Canadian Celiac Association is doing in helping accessing tests for our celiac community. Next, please. Right now, there has been a history of uncovered tests and access, which has created inequality to our community. Next, please. But thanks to our government Minister of Health present here, so we have been able to get access to our celiac community for this test. And many celiac have been diagnosed in this period thanks to the support for this pilot program. Next, please. Our university, also sick kids, we are all supporting. Next, please. And we're hoping that this pilot and access to the test is becoming permanent. Next, please. So just to summarize, I would like to thank the extraordinary work for the Canadian Celiac Association, especially Melissa Calais, that has been strongly working and advocating for our community, and everyone that has been involved, especially the presidents of the chapters. Some of them I see her here, that have been advocating our community in the last 50 years. Next, please. The contribution for our fantastic community to improve the knowledge and access, and also a special thank to our hours of volunteer of our PAC, which has been working in increasing the knowledge and access for celiac disease. Next, please. To all of you, big thank you. Next, please. We are committed from McMaster, the PAC, and CCA to work with and for our celiac community. Thank you very much.
Well, she stayed on time, and 100 years in 10 minutes. Wow, if everybody could do that. She set the bar for everybody else in their remarks today. So thank you, Dr. Pinto Sanchez. And our annual James A. Campbell Research Award has launched many careers of several acclaimed research, and we have them here today as well. So I'd like to call out Dr. Elena Verdu and Premek Burchik and Heather Gallipo for just being here today and for all the incredible work you're doing at McMaster. So our next special guest is the Deputy Premier of the Province of Ontario, Minister of Health, the Honourable Celia Jones, if I can ask her to come up.
Okay, I can absolutely assure you that I could not do 100 years of Ontario politics in 10 minutes. That was impressive. Thank you so much. So thank you, Melissa, and thank you for CCA for the introduction and asking me to join you today. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you in Waterloo. It's an honor to join MP Shager, Mayor Vrbanovich, representatives and members of the Canadian Celiac Association, and your community partners and supporters in commemorating the CCA's 50-year anniversary. On behalf of Premier Ford and our government, congratulations on reaching this tremendous milestone, and our sincere thanks to the Celiac Association of Canada for your ongoing work to support individuals and families living with celiac disease and similar conditions. And I have to say, earlier this week, I had an opportunity to talk to Mike Harris, the MPP for Kitchener-Conestoga, and he talked about the importance of advocacy because he actually has 3 extended family members living with celiac. So he wanted me to pass on his thanks and congratulations. Your leadership, your passionate advocacy, and determined efforts have been instrumental in helping many Canadians get the care and treatment they need. You've supported research and dedication and promoted best practices to help individuals who require a gluten-free diet. Thank you for all you do to support better health and patient-centered care, something that is so important to our government. Our government is working hard to make healthcare more connected and convenient for individuals and families in our province. We are focused on providing people with a better healthcare experience so they get the right care in the right place and have better, faster access to care while we hire more healthcare workers. Strengthening our healthcare system also means supporting individuals living with different diseases and health conditions, and finding ways to support improved health outcomes. A little over a year ago, as we just heard, Ontario launched a pilot project to improve patients' access to laboratory testing services in the community, including celiac testing, and that was as a result of your advocacy. This initiative funding funded a set of testing services that patients can access in a community setting at no cost to themselves. The Ministry of Health is continuing to collect data and evaluate the uptake of these pilot projects. I will tell you, they look very positive, and it is in discussions with community laboratories and health system partners to add new testing services to the pilot. The Canadian Celiac Association has provided information to assist the ministry in the evaluation of celiac testing, as well as educational support and resources to patients and primary care providers. And we do expect to have good news about the next steps with these pilot services in the very near future. I thought I could wink, but then I can't do that. We will continue to look how to support timely diagnosis and improve the quality of life for patients. Our government will continue working with our many health partners, including the Canadian Celiac Association, to promote and support best practices and ensure people get the care they need and deserve. And I must say, as a member for Dufferin-Caledon, I would be remiss if I did not highlight the Davis family and all the work that they have done in supporting the Canadian Celiac Association. So, as your MPP, thank you very much. Thank you again to the CCA for your significant contributions to our province and to our country, and congratulations on your 50th anniversary. And Jennifer, if I could call you up, because I do have a scroll. It's not nearly as fancy as the one for the hospital, but I would like to present it to thank you for your advocacy and the work that your board is doing.
You can see the smile on my face. That's amazing. Great news. And a great support of the community for helping us get this awareness out, because we're a small little mighty charity, and great that we're punching above our weight and getting noticed, which is great. So now I'd like to welcome Honorable Barta Shagar to bring greetings from her riding of Waterloo and the federal government.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I also bring greetings on behalf of my colleagues Tim Lewis, the Member of Parliament for Kitchener-Conestoga, Valerie Bradford, the Member of Parliament for Kitchener-South Hespeler, Brian May, the Member of Parliament for Cambridge, and I understand you'll be hearing from Mike Morris, the Member of Parliament for Kitchener Centre very shortly. I want to just start by saying I remember, as someone who's had some issues when it comes to digestion and just wanting to eat things that you can't eat, that it's a really big challenge. And the work that you do is tremendous. And it means a lot to people who are impacted and those who might not directly be. But I remember my world having to confront gluten and being like, I think I like it, but I don't really know what it is. And then going through the testing process and then having to be able to cover my test was great because it wasn't covered. But you are making a tremendous difference in people's lives. So please know that whether you know it or not, every single minute of every single day, you're doing great things. So please don't stop. And today, on your 50th anniversary, how time flies. No one in this room looks a day over 29. I bring greetings to you on behalf of myself as your Member of Parliament in the riding of Waterloo, but also from the Prime Minister. And just yesterday, I received these greetings, and he writes, "Dear friends, I am pleased to extend warmest greetings and congratulations to everyone marking the 50th anniversary of the Canadian Celiac Association. Since its formation in 1973, the Canadian Celiac Association has worked to recognize the vital needs of people suffering from celiac disease and other conditions exacerbated by gluten. Over the years, CCA members and volunteers have helped individuals better manage their lives by providing information and on sources of gluten-free foods, advancing awareness, education and research, and fostering mutual support. This milestone offers a wonderful opportunity to reflect upon the history of the organization, to celebrate its many achievements, and to set goals for the future. Like all worthy endeavors, building a viable charitable organization requires the collective efforts of a great many people working together towards a shared goal. I would like to commend the founders and everyone associated with the CCA over the past 5 decades for their commitment to the health and well-being of their fellow citizens. Please accept my best wishes for a memorable anniversary and continued success in the years to come. And as someone who has served this community for just over 7 years, I've had the opportunity to read several certificates like this. But this one really touches the backyards of individuals, and that's the work that you do every single day. And it's so amazing that this was actually based right here in the Waterloo region when you started. And I always say, as much as the world needs more Canada, Canada needs more Waterloo. And Jennifer and many other people know that. So please don't stop doing what you do. In Waterloo region, the best natural renewable resource is our people. People from across the country and around the world here, they come here for all the great things that we can do, and we do them together. So please don't ever stop. Thank you to all volunteers. Thank you to all people who share your experiences. You're humanizing this disease. And it's really tough because you feel isolated when you're going through something like this. But when you know that there's a support network around and that you can ask for help and you can get information, it really helps to build better communities. So congratulations on your 50th anniversary. And Jennifer, I'll call you back up so I can present you these 2 certificates. Thank you so much for having me here. Keep well and safe.
That's so nice. That was such a nice surprise to have the greetings from the Prime Minister. Thank you so much. I know we have one of his cousins in the audience. I'm not going to call her out, but don't think we pulled that favor yet, so that's great. And now I'd like to invite Green Party member and MP for Kitchener Centre, Mike Morris, for some brief remarks and a presentation, I hear.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I just want to first of all join MP Chagger and the Mayor of Kitchener, Mayor Verbanovic, and the Mayor for Waterloo, who's with us also, in welcoming you all back to Waterloo Region, to the roots of CCA really appreciated learning. I didn't actually realize that until this afternoon, that the roots start here with Nora and Kay and their advocacy. And so I don't have a PowerPoint presentation, but I did want to say thank you for the advocacy here in our community and across the country for those facing celiac disease, and in particular for the awareness that you've spread of the disease and of those who can be tested for it. I can say in my lifetime, and I'm 38, but I can reflect back when I was a child, these weren't conversations that I think are as prevalent as they are now, and that doesn't happen by accident. That happens because of advocates across the country who are organizing together to get policies changed and to build the awareness for it. So thank you for that work, and my congratulations as well on your 50th anniversary. I'd love to present a certificate of congratulations. Melissa, please do come back up. Jennifer as well. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you here. My cheeks are going to be sore. But it's good, it's good. So thank you, Mr. Morris and Honorable Chagger. We've been fortunate to have a number of great partners in Ottawa at Health Canada who've helped improve food labeling, food safety in our community. And we hope to be in Ottawa early in May to kick off Celiac Disease Awareness Month on the Hill with a gluten-free breakfast in the hills. So MP Chagger, hope you'll be there to join us. So I'd like to now ask our two local mayors to bring greetings. First is Worship, Mayor of Kitchener, and to bring greetings from the city, where the organization began, Kitchener-Waterloo Hospital. So come on up.
Well, thank you so much, Melissa. Whoops, just give me 1 second. Thank you very much, Melissa, and really is a pleasure to be here with all of you as we celebrate this exciting day right back where it started. Deputy Premier, it's also great to have you here on such an auspicious occasion, and particularly want to take this opportunity to thank you for your leadership over the past few years as we all navigated through some of the health issues and for the investment in starting the strategic work necessary for a new hospital. I know that's so important for all of us. You know, as we reflect on the fact that CCA started here 50 years ago, it really, I think, speaks so much about the barn-raising spirit of Waterloo Region and the kind of innovation that happens in Waterloo Region. And so whether we're talking about Kate Ernst and Nora Reich and the innovation that happened in terms of the CCA, whether we're talking about the Blue Box program, whether we're talking about the BlackBerry smartphone, and so many kinds of innovation, this is often where it happens. And I couldn't be more excited than to know that the work that Dr. Pinto Sanchez is doing is attached to McMaster University, which has a satellite medical school here in Kitchener on our Health Innovation Campus together with University of Waterloo. And I think, you know, it just speaks to the kinds of things that happen locally and that we can continue doing. And all of this is really attributable to all of you who have not only in some cases living with celiac disease, but have family members and are committed to continuing the advocacy necessary so that people living with the disease will be able to do so with a higher quality of life. So on behalf of all of us at the City of Kitchener, thank you, congratulations, and if I can invite Jennifer and Melissa up on
Well, we will ask Jennifer to stand because she's going to help with some very important presentations for our community. So, so thank you. And Mayor McCabe, let's get you up here. And I should have just stayed there, but
Thank you, Melissa. Good afternoon, everyone. And it's of course very hard to always be the last speaker, but when everything else has kind of been said. But I do want to, on behalf of the residents of the city of Waterloo, welcome you to our beautiful city and hope that you spend some time and spend some of your money here while you're here. That's always very much welcome. And also, you know, in terms of recognizing the 50 years that, well, I guess it's really more like 100 years, but the 50 years since the inception of the CCA. In addition to what Mayor Vrbanovic was saying and Bartosz Jagger was saying about, you know, often so many of these really great innovations happen in, I'll say Waterloo, but Kitchener-Waterloo or Waterloo region. Sometimes they're started by women, and often they're started by women. So I think that's a really important other unique thing to mention regarding this association. So I really think it's a tremendous respect to those women who saw that need and really took the time to fill it and probably worked really, really darn hard to get the attention that this deserves. So congratulations especially to them. But yes, thank you so much for what you do. It was a pleasure to meet the Minister of Health, and I offered to, if she had any extra time while she was in our city today, to tour her to a few sites where I think our new hospital could be sited. Not to put any pressure on you. She declined that opportunity, so. No, but in all seriousness, we are very, very grateful for that feasibility study, the money for the feasibility study that's going ahead, and we'll work very collaboratively to make sure that we build and rebuild our hospital system so it really serves our entire community, and as well as that it has the opportunity to serve groups like yours who work very collaboratively with our healthcare system. So congratulations to Melissa, to Jennifer, I think they're still here. Thank you so much to everyone watching and to people who came here today. And I wondered if we could maybe actually just get a group picture of the minister, Bartosz Jagger, Mike Morris. I don't want to take a picture just by myself. So if we could all do a group picture, that would be great. Thank you so much and congratulations again.
we have to stand up by the. Oh, thank you. Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. That's great. No, I know Honorable Jones has to get back to her family, so. So, yeah, and I'm a graduate of Wilfrid Laurier, so great to be back in Waterloo. So now I'm just going to invite Elizabeth Wall to come up. She's our vice president, and she's going to talk about some of our change makers. And it's our launch of our 50th anniversary volunteer recognition, and it's important to celebrate those who've made a measurable and lasting impact. So we're going to bring her up and get that started.
Hi. Thank you, Melissa. I am honored to be able to announce the launch of our 50th anniversary volunteer recognition and present the first of several CCA Changemaker Awards this year. It is important to celebrate those who have made a measurable and lasting impact on the celiac community, and to recognize also those unsung heroes who every day lean in, lend a hand, and step up for celiac disease. Today we are recognizing our first 5 CCA Changemakers. If it were not for these individuals, the very existence of our strides we have made would not have happened. Our first 3 Changemakers are receiving posthumous awards: Kay Ernst, Nora Reich, and Frances Murphy. While I could talk about Kay Ernst, it's better to hear the impact she has made directly from her son, Dr. Peter Ernst, who was the reason Kay felt so passionately the need for the voice for people with celiac disease. We're fortunate to have him live via Zoom from Virginia. Dr. Ernst?
I have just greetings from Virginia. I was just wondering how they're going to show my slides. Or do they want me to share my screen? Hello, Melissa. Any?
If you can share your screen, that would be great, just like
All
we
right.
did
All
the
right.
other
Give me
day.
a second to do that, and we'll.
We're going high tech here, so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is that working?
Yep, we can see them. That's great.
Great. All right. Well, just to thank you for this opportunity. I wish I could be there, but unfortunately I couldn't make it this week. But I certainly like to share the enthusiasm being expressed by everyone gathered today and congratulate the CCA on its 50th anniversary. I was asked to say a word or two since my mother, Catherine Ernst, better known as Kay, who, as Jennifer pointed out, worked with Nora Reich to create the Celiac Sprue Association of Waterloo Region in 1973. This organization evolved over time into the CCA. My mother's connection to celiac disease started in 1955 when I began eating solid food and had some adverse reactions. I was put on a diet of bananas and protein milk for a year, which I'm told I eventually rejected by shoving it onto the floor. Subsequently, I was diagnosed with celiac disease and I've experienced many experiments in gluten-free food, which are best left for the archives. And bouncing around here, all right. So, okay. My mother would be shocked but pleasantly surprised at the gluten-free offerings we have today. I have had the pleasure of finding gluten-free treasures in Paris, Barcelona, San Francisco, Oakland, LA, San Diego, Mexico, South America, as well as Japan, Switzerland, Italy, and of course, Canada. All of this became possible because of the work that associations such as the CCA have done to educate their respective communities and to make people aware of the disease, its diagnosis, and the need for more gluten-free options. For her efforts, my mother was awarded the Canada Volunteer Award Certificate and Medal of Honor in 1996 and the Golden Jubilee Medal in 2002 for organizing groups that, along with the hard work of many, many others, led to the CCA. She was also very touched by the many kind letters she received from grateful patients. Being diagnosed with celiac disease has influenced my life immensely. First, my mother taught me how to cook, which was an exceptional tool that allowed me to eat excellent gluten-free food throughout my life. My awareness of GI disease inspired me to pursue a career in research related to digestive diseases. I married this wonderful woman, Sheila Crow, whose own professional interest in celiac disease was seeded by my diagnosis and my mother's contagious enthusiasm. Sheila graduated from the University of Toronto, and her first faculty appointment was at McMaster University, who I should say have the best gastroenterology program in the province. We moved on to the University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston, then to the University of Virginia, and finally we ended our careers at the University of California, San Diego. During this time, she became a well-known gastroenterologist specializing in adverse reactions to food, including celiac disease. She actually co-authored the book Celiac Disease for Dummies. She and I started a research program together in 2019, developing a rapid diagnostic test to discriminate between celiac disease and refractory celiac disease. In 2017, she was recognized as the McKenna Memorial Lecturer by the CAG. And on Monday, it will be announced that she will receive the American Gastroenterological Association's highest honor, the Julius Friedenwald Medal. All of that motivated by the early efforts of my mother, who inspired people to learn about celiac disease. My mother would have been exceptionally proud and grateful for everything the CCA, its leadership, medical advisors, advocates, and members have achieved. Your educational efforts have a profound impact on people who often learn about this diagnosis rather suddenly, and then they must cope with a complete change of diet. Many thanks to all of you, and congratulations again on 50 years of success.
We'll be sending a framed sunflower print to the Ernst family after this event. And thanks, Peter, for being with us today and sharing the joy of your mother's legacy. Nora Reich had a chance encounter with Kay, and they started to talk about a need for help here in Canada. And after a trip home back in England and learning about a local celiac society in the UK, together the ladies did their homework and started the group with their first official meeting in Waterloo on a stormy February night. She was proud of her career as a librarian at Wilfrid Laurier University Library. Our third posthumous award is to Frances Murphy. Frances joined the board of directors in May 1975 and became president from 1979 to 1981. And during her time, she was a driving force for the growth of chapters across Canada. The organization bloomed with committees, medical advisors, fundraising, from the humble beginnings of the KW chapter to Hamilton, Calgary, Windsor, Sudbury, Fredericton, Montreal, Toronto, to serve a growing community network. Our next change maker is another Kitchener-Waterloo area citizen, Sue Newell, also known as Celiac Sue, was the backbone for many years as a volunteer, board director, and eventually a staff member. If it were not for Sue Newell, thousands of people with celiac disease would be struggling without her sharing her knowledge and expertise in our online support, peer support groups on Facebook. She became the E.F. Hutton of the Canadian celiac world. When she spoke, everyone listened. Sue helped drive advancements in labeling and food safety through Health Canada. She also, along with our next honoree, saved the CCA during the mid-2000s when membership declined and our fate was uncertain. If it were not for Sue and a few other dedicated volunteers, we would not be standing here today. I would like to ask Sue Newell, MP Chagar, Jennifer Stebbing, to please come forward for her CCA, her Canada Celiac Change Award maker. Thank you. It made me feel a little bit better. Congratulations, Sue. A well-deserved honor. Our next CCA changemaker shows how much dedication she has to the CCA by flying in all the way from Victoria, BC. And I bet she has online, she only carries online board luggage. Anne Raggett was president of the CCA from 2016 to 2018 and on the CCA board since 2014. Together, with Sue Newell and Mark Johnson, they kept the CCA going through desperate financial challenges as a small association. As a chartered accountant and visionary, Anne flew in regularly to the CC office in Mississauga. It could not afford to have a full-time executive director at the time. Her financial acumen and passion kept the delicate finances in order and nurtured the CCA to better financial health. Thank you, Anne, for your leadership and determination on behalf of the community. Please join us to receive your recognition. I got the best job. Our next recognition is to very special families within the CCA community. First, we'd like to honor Robert Betty. Robert, a past CCA National Treasure and local Bellevue chapter president. The Betty family, like many celiac families, has seen several family members impacted by the disease. In addition to his volunteerism since 2013, he has donated nearly $90,000 in financial support for ongoing advocacy and programs. Thank you for your support, and if I could ask you to come forward to please receive a token of our appreciation. And, all right, and I guess there's no one in his stead. I'm sure we'll all pass on our gratefulness. But last, but not certainly least, we'd like to honor the Davis family of Caledon, Ontario. As Melissa has told me, a young father and son walked into the CCA office on August 22nd, 2018, with a $14,000 check. To the surprise of the staff, the family had held a summer sunflower festival in Caledon. Every dollar from every entrant was donated to the CCA. The Davis family, John, Joanne, Sean, Amy, Nora, have welcomed thousands of people to their walk among the sunflowers in Caledon East, Ontario every year, except for, of course, 2020. 2 years ago, they teamed up with the CCA, selling sunflower seed packets, with all the proceeds going to support the CCA. They hand fill every sunflower seed packet while watching their favorite shows. All of you will be receiving a packet today. And since 2018, between the festivals and the seeds, this family has helped generate over $94,000. Remarkable. Yeah. They are a generous, but most of all, kind, fun-loving, and on behalf of the community, we are forever grateful. And I'd like to ask the Deputy Minister, oh, whoopsie. To join the Davis family, but we will, the Davis family, please. Jennifer, is that okay? Yeah, we got a substitute.
Thank you so much, Liz, and thank you, everyone. Incredible individuals across Canada helping us. It truly does take a community to support a cause. So before, and I have to say, everybody is getting the sunflower seeds, and our honored guests are getting some honey, except the Davises, because it's your honey. So they're getting a little something special from Laura Secord, so gluten-free. So thank you, Liz. That was great. In a recognition, just before we close, we have one diehard fan who insisted, Melissa emailed, I have to get on, I have to give her some greetings. She's a diehard fan of Kay Ernst, and it's very special because she was at the very first meeting of the CCA 50 years ago. She didn't bring her 2 young daughters, but they are here today to join her. So Ann Hammer, if you can come up and bring your greetings.
Thank you, Melissa. On a winter's night 50 years ago, Beth Schluter, who is here today, do you want to stand up, Beth? I didn't know Beth at the time, but we became friends with our families after. We were fortunate to meet the vivacious, energetic Kay Ernst from Waterloo. Kay had a vision. That vision was to establish a nationwide organization to support celiacs and to also help spread medical knowledge of the disease. Kay later received the very well-deserved Canadian Volunteer Medal for the work that she had accomplished. How thankful we are that Kay had this vision and that she also had a very loving, supportive husband, Dr. David Ernst, a very respected OBS/GYN physician in our community. Dr. Ernst was able to acquire financial support from the community to support Kay's vision to expand chapters beyond Kitchener and Waterloo. Dr. Ernst also arranged to have Dr. Jim Brow, a gastroenterologist, and Dr. John Graham, a pediatrician, to be our first medical advisors. From that first meeting, Kay was the driving force to reach out to other locations to set up satellite chapters. We all did our part at volunteering, but I would be amiss if I did not mention one particular volunteer, Frances Murphy, who I got to know very well. She was a newly diagnosed celiac, a retired X-ray technologist, and she was very eager to help. She became Kay's right-hand woman, accompanying her on these journeys to set up new chapters. Thanks go out to the life of Frances for all that she did. Also to the many who have helped the Canadian Celiac Association in the last 50 years, the volunteers, the many staff members, the medical community, the researchers, the dietitians, the food companies who have produced gluten-free food and who continue to support us financially. We have come a long way from these humble beginnings, and it now, the CCA, extends from coast to coast. Today, we salute and we give thanks for the lives of Kay and Dr. David Ernst, who helped all of us to have a better life and did so much to spread awareness of celiac disease. Thanks so much from all of us.
Such a lovely tribute. That's amazing. Thank you, Anne, for taking that time to bring those greetings so personal to everyone. So thank you. Thank you for sharing the impact of the legacy of our founders. It's been a really inspirational afternoon. As I wrap up, I'd like to just thank again for the Deputy Minister for coming, Honourable Bardish Chagger, MP Morris, the mayors. Thank you for joining us today. Special thanks to our current National Board of Directors, our dedicated CCA staff team, vendor partners plus AV, Oliver, Vadas, Alex, and Marnie for the photography, and our volunteers. Thanks also to the Davis Farm for supplying the honey. Winnie's Gluten Free for our beautiful cake, which will actually, I'm going to get the Davises to cut that, so we'll get Joanne to cut that, so everybody can enjoy that. Promise Gluten Free, Be Free, Glutinos, M&M Markets, and Robin's Gluten Free Bacon for their support of this particular event. And if I can get some of I think we've got all the photos, so I think I'm not going to ask for any more photos. But we are a small charity, and together with individuals like you in the room today and across Canada watching, you've made a real difference in helping every person with celiac disease get diagnosed and empowered, moving us towards that goal. While our work is far from complete, we do see a country where every person with celiac disease will eventually get quickly diagnosed and freely access the medically required diet they need to eat safely anywhere for a long and healthy life. So I'm truly honored to be a part of this resilient community and working towards the stream. Thank you, and please enjoy the lovely gluten-free fare and our interactive booth. So please share your What's Your Story, your video messages. Please come up. We're going to do some fun interactive photos. If you like and inspired, we've got Sue with her podcast here. So thanks, everyone, and thank you for coming, and have a safe drive home when you do that.